Garrick notices the absence of a quorum. The Sergeant-at-Arms will prepare the chamber and bring in the absent members. The clerk will call the roll.
Ashajian, Alejo, Allen, Amiano, Atkins, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Blumenfield, Bonilla, Bradford, Brownlee, Buchanan, Butler, Calderon, Campos, Carter, Cedillo, Chesbro, Conway, Cook, Davis, Dickinson, Donnelly, Ing, Fuhr, Fletcher, Fong, Fuentes, Furutani, Galgiani, Garrick, Gatto, Gordon, Gorell, Grove, Hagman, Halderman, Hall, Harkey, Hayashi, Hernandez, Hill, Huber, Weso, Huffman, Jeffries, Jones, Knight, Lara, Logue, Lowenthal, Ma, Mansour, Mendoza, Miller, Mitchell, Monning, Morrell, Nestande, Nielsen, Norby, Olson, Pan, Perea, V. Manuel Perez, Portantino, Silva, Skinner, Smythe, Solorio, Swanson, Torres, Valadeo, Wagner, Wykowski, Williams, Yamada, Mr. Speaker.
We ask our guests and visitors in the rear of the chamber and in the gallery to please stand for the prayer. We ask Assemblywoman Nancy Skinner to offer the day's prayer.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I offer today on St. Patrick's Day an Irish blessing. May love and laughter light our days and warm our hearts and homes. May good and faithful friends be ours wherever we may roam. May peace and plenty bless our world with joy that long endures. May all life's passing and all life's seasons bring the best to us and ours. Amen.
We ask our guests and visitors to remain standing and join us in the flag salute. Please join Assemblymember Williams as he leads us in the pledge. Mr. Williams.
Please join me this morning in our declaration of fealty to this great symbol of justice. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Reading of the previous day's journal.
Assembly Chamber, Sacramento, Wednesday, March 16, 2011. The Assembly met at 11 a.m. Honor with Fiona Ma, Speaker Pro Tem of the Assembly, presiding. Chief Clerk E. Dawson Wilson at the desk reading. Clerk Timothy Moreland reading. The roll was called. Ashajian, Alejo, Allen, Amiano, Atkins, Bell, Berryhill, Block, Blumenfield, Bonilla, Bradford, Brownlee, Buchanan, Butler, Calderon, Campos, Carter, Cedillo, Chesbrough, Conway, Cook, Davis,
Mr. Speaker moves and Ms. Conway seconds that the reading of the previous day's journal be dispensed with. Presentations of petitions, there are none. Introduction and reference of bills will be deferred. Reports of committees will be deemed read and amendments deemed adopted. Messages from the governor, there are none. Messages from the Senate, there are none. Motions and resolutions. The absences for the day will be deemed read and printed in the journal. Mr. Calderon.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I request unanimous consent to allow Mr. Garrick to have guests and photographers on the floor.
Without objection. Business on the daily file. Second reading. Clerk will read.
Assembly Bill 177, 82 with amendments, 130 with amendments, 130 Assembly Bill 131 with amendments.
Assembly third reading. We're going to take up file item 11, H.R. 9. Clerk will read.
House Resolution 9 by Assemblymember Garrick relative to the Irish American Heritage Month.
Mr. Garrick.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And may I take the liberty of complimenting you on your wonderfully green dress today. It is my honor today to present H.R. 9, celebration of St. Patrick's Day. For some, this is a high holy day. We are told of St. Patrick himself driving all the serpents from Ireland, his work baptizing thousands of people, and his use of the shamrock to explain the Holy Trinity. But for many, this is a day to celebrate the contribution made by millions of Irish men and women who came to this country. Today serves as a reminder of the millions of immigrants forced from their homes due to conflict and famine in search of better life in America. The early struggles of Irish Americans are well documented. They lived in the ghettos and tenements of American cities like New York, Boston, Chicago. Criticized for their Catholic faith and lack of education, they struggled to gain a foothold in mainstream society. But their passion for a better life helped shape this country and made America what it is today. 8 Irish Americans, direct descendants and immigrants, signed the Declaration of Independence. 22 United States presidents claim Irish ancestry. Irish labor in the early 1800s and 1900s built roads, bridges, canals, and infrastructure critical to the growth of our great nation. Irish Americans also join the police forces and fire departments of all of our cities and counties in large amounts, raising the modern-day organization of public safety. Virtually every aspect of American society has been influenced by those of Irish ancestry. Earl Flynn, Grace Kelly, Judy Garland in films, just to mention a few. Bing Crosby in music, F. Scott Fitzgerald, George O'Keeffe in literature and art. Tom Brady, John McEnroe, Connie Mack in sports. Henry Ford, Jack Welch in business. And, of course, Ronald Reagan, John F. Kennedy, and Andrew Jackson in politics. As many of you know, St. Patrick's Day celebrations come in a variety of forms, from parades, green beer, to shamrocks. And just about everything green can be seen on this day, including, may I note, our own green chambers and floor. But no matter how you choose to celebrate the day, I offer all of you a traditional Irish blessing as you return home, hopefully soon, this weekend. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rain fall softly upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Happy St. Patrick's Day to all my colleagues. And on your desks, or excuse me, in your offices when you return, is a permission to use a plant, not a prop.
Without objection.
Thank you. Is a gift from Senator Corbett, who can't be here because she's presiding in the Senate, and myself, a collection, a little plant here of shamrocks to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And also on your desk, you'll find a chocolate coin along with a small poem, patriotic poem. And now, Madam Speaker, I would like to introduce the Whelan Kennelly Academy of Sacramento, who will be performing a few traditional Irish dances. And before I do that, I would like to ask for co-authors of my HR. Close.
Thank you. Mr. Fletcher.
Question to the author.
Without objection.
I would just like to confirm for the record that Ronald Reagan was indeed Irish.
He was an American of Irish ancestry, but he was a proud American.
In that event, I will be pleased in honor of Ronald Reagan to support this. Thank you.
Thank you. And now,
Mr. Chesbro.
Question of the author.
yes,
Without
please,
objection.
Mr. Chesbro.
I'd just like you to confirm that John Kennedy was, in fact, Irish.
Absolutely Irish.
Thank you. Then I will indeed be voting for this resolution.
Mr. Speaker.
Question of the author.
Without objection.
Speaker Tip O'Neill.
Absolutely Irish.
Seeing no further questions or debate, Mr. Garrick asks for the first roll to be open for co-authors. This is for co-authors members. Clerk will open the roll. All members vote who desire to vote. All members vote who desire to vote. Clerk will close the roll, tally the votes. For the record, there are 61 co-authors. We can take a voice vote on this item. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. The measure is adopted. Now, Mr. Garrick, your guess.
Thank you. And now at this time, I'd like to introduce the Whelan Kennelly Academy of Sacramento, who will be performing traditional Irish dances. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Ms. Conway? Ms. Conway has some guests also in the rear of the chamber.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In the back of the chamber, I have today with us the Tulare Chamber of Commerce Leadership Tulare. Leadership Tulare program has been providing valuable community leadership training for nearly 2 decades. Over 200 graduates to date. This program has been instrumental in developing dedicated and knowledgeable men and women as community leaders. This year, the class has 8 participants that are committed to Tulare and furthering the greater good of community. I'm sure a lot of us in here, like myself, have participated in these chamber leadership programs. So we welcome Leadership Tulare, and I'd like to ask you all to join me in giving them a hand for being here today.
Mr. Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If we could just call, since we had a great dance this morning, but we'll call a quick Republican caucus before we get started today.
Okay.
In the rules room.
Republican caucus in the rules room, Democratic caucus in the members' lounge. Republican caucus in the rules room, Democratic caucus in the members' lounge.